Tesla is no longer judged by what it builds, but by what it promised. For more than a decade, the company positioned itself as the gateway to a future that felt unavoidable. Electric cars were only the surface. Beneath them was a much larger claim. A world driven by artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, and machines that would eventually outperform human decision-making. Investors didn't just fund factories or products, they funded a timeline, and that timeline is now under pressure. The idea of autonomy became Tesla's most powerful asset, not because it was fully realized, but because it was framed as inevitable. Full self-driving was never marketed as a feature that might arrive. It was presented as something that was already happening, slowly unfolding through updates and data. Each software release reinforced the same belief. The future is late, but it is still coming. That belief carried Tesla through years of delays, skepticism, and missed deadlines. But belief behaves differently when scale is reached. When a company grows small, promises feel abstract. When it becomes one of the most valuable firms in the world, those same promises turn into obligations. Tesla reached that point. Its valuation, influence, and cultural presence became directly tied to autonomy. The question shifted quietly from "Can Tesla build it?" to "What happens if it doesn't?" This is where the edge appears. Tesla is standing between vision and verification. On one side is the narrative that built the company. On the other side is a market that no longer rewards patience the same way. Autonomous driving is no longer an idea competing with gasoline engines. It is now competing with regulation, public trust, and geopolitical scrutiny. And unlike hardware, these forces cannot be optimized with software updates. The pressure is amplified by visibility. Tesla does not test autonomy behind closed doors. It releases it into real streets, real traffic, and real consequences. Every mistake becomes a data point, not just for engineers, but for regulators, journalists, and investors. In this environment, progress and failure look dangerously similar. A small error can overshadow thousands of successful miles. The closer Tesla gets to full autonomy, the higher the standard becomes. What makes this moment critical is that Tesla's identity has already evolved. It is no longer treated as a car company experimenting with AI. It is treated as an AI company using cars as its interface. That distinction changes expectations completely. Car companies are allowed to improve. AI companies are expected to be precise. When software is positioned as a replacement for human judgment, tolerance disappears. At the same time, competition has shifted. Traditional automakers are no longer trying to beat Tesla on autonomy speed. They are choosing caution, limited autonomy, strict geofencing, slower rollouts. Tesla chose the opposite path: maximum data, maximum exposure, maximum risk. This strategy worked when the future was theoretical. Now it must work in reality. Tesla's edge is not financial collapse or technological failure. It is narrative exhaustion. The moment when markets stop asking how bold the vision is and start asking how controlled the execution really is. Autonomy forces a company to answer questions it can no longer delay. Who is responsible when machines decide? Who absorbs the cost of error? And how much uncertainty can society accept before progress becomes unacceptable? Standing at this edge, Tesla faces a transition that no other company has navigated at this scale. The move from promise to proof, from belief to accountability. This is no longer about innovation alone. It is about control. And the next chapters of Tesla's story will be written not by what it claims the future will be, but by how close it is willing to bring that future into the present. Tesla's artificial intelligence strategy was never designed to be comfortable from the beginning. It rejected the idea of controlled environments and limited exposure. Instead of building autonomy inside carefully mapped zones, Tesla chose the real world. Unpredictable roads, human behavior, weather, chaos. The belief was simple but dangerous. The more data the system absorbs, the faster it learns. Billions of miles would eventually outperform rules, maps, and restrictions. This approach turned every driver into a data source and every trip into a training session. At first, this strategy looked brilliant. Tesla's data advantage grew faster than any competitor could match. While others simulated scenarios, Tesla collected reality. Investors saw scale. Engineers saw learning curves. The market saw inevitability. But there was a hidden cost. When AI learns in public, mistakes also happen in public. And unlike internal testing, public failure carries narrative weight. Each full self-driving update became more than a technical improvement. It became a signal, a promise renewed. A delay disguised as progress. Social media amplified everything. A smooth autonomous drive went viral. So did every sudden break, missed sign, or confusing turn. Tesla's AI was no longer judged statistically. It was judged emotionally. One clip could outweigh millions of successful decisions. Regulators noticed this shift early. Autonomy is not just software, it is delegated responsibility. The moment a system claims to replace human judgment, accountability becomes unclear. Tesla positioned full self-driving as supervised, but marketed it as transformative. This contradiction created tension. Drivers were told to stay alert, yet encouraged to trust the system. That balance is fragile, and once broken, it is difficult to restore. The deeper issue is that Tesla removed the traditional safety net. Other companies slowed down deployment to protect trust. Tesla accelerated deployment to accelerate learning. This works well in technology cycles. It is far riskier in systems that interact with human lives. AI does not understand consequences. Markets do, governments do, and the public reacts faster than code evolves. As Tesla pushed autonomy forward, the margin for acceptable error narrowed. Early adopters forgive imperfections. Mass adoption does not. What was once experimental is now expected to behave responsibly. The same update that excites investors can alarm regulators. The same innovation that increases valuation can invite scrutiny. Tesla now operates in this contradiction daily. There is also a structural risk. Tesla's valuation is not anchored to current autonomy performance. It is anchored to future autonomy dominance. This creates pressure to show momentum even when caution might be strategically safer. AI development rarely moves in straight lines. Progress stalls. Unexpected problems emerge. But markets prefer linear narratives. Tesla must balance technical reality with financial expectations, and those forces often pull in opposite directions. Without a safety net, every decision matters more. Every update becomes a test, not just of code, but of trust. Tesla's AI is learning faster than ever, but so is public skepticism. The system improves incrementally, while expectations remain absolute. Autonomy promises fewer accidents, not gradual improvement, and that difference shapes perception. Tesla now stands in a position where slowing down feels like failure, but speeding up increases risk. There is no neutral option. The company built its advantage by refusing limits. Now it must decide whether limits are necessary to protect what it has built, because AI without restraint may learn faster, but it also breaks harder when it fails. This is the cost of removing the safety net. Tesla chose exposure over insulation, reality over simulation, scale over certainty. That decision created its lead. It also created its greatest vulnerability. And as autonomy moves closer to everyday dependence, the absence of a safety net becomes impossible to ignore. Tesla's greatest advantage lies in its data. Millions of vehicles on the road generate billions of miles worth of information every day. Cameras, sensors, logs, and AI predictions feed a constantly evolving neural network. On paper, this creates unmatched capability. Reality is more complex. More data does not automatically produce more control. Instead, it produces complexity, and complexity hides uncertainty. The system becomes capable, but predictability decreases. Rare scenarios that once seemed trivial now surface in every update cycle, revealing flaws no simulation could anticipate. This creates a paradox. Externally, the world sees dominance. Tesla's fleet and the billions of miles it has logged suggest inevitability. Internally, engineers see the opposite. Every mile driven exposes gaps in understanding. Data expands knowledge faster than mastery. Understanding a system does not equal controlling it, and the larger the fleet, the more visible every edge case becomes. Control is no longer absolute, it is conditional. Power in AI comes not just from quantity of data, but from how it is curated and interpreted. Tesla's vertical integration owning hardware, software, and deployment accelerates learning. It allows rapid iteration and feedback, but it concentrates risk. When one system fails, it fails systemically. Competitors that spread responsibility over multiple suppliers and geographies reduce exposure, but sacrifice speed. Tesla chose speed. That choice amplifies both progress and consequences. Metrics reinforce an illusion of control. Miles driven without intervention, software update frequency, disengagement rates all suggest precision. But public trust is not built on averages, it is built on extremes. A single high-profile failure overshadows thousands of smooth operations. Tesla learns faster than the public accepts. Success and perception diverge, and perception is what ultimately shapes regulatory market and societal response. AI is not neutral, it becomes political the moment it interacts with human lives. Who decides which data proves safety? Who sets acceptable risk thresholds? These decisions are not technical, they are societal. Regulators, courts, and public opinion dictate the boundaries of deployment. Tesla controls the code, but it cannot fully control how the world interprets its actions. Control migrates outward, and the company must navigate this shift carefully. Trust is incremental. It cannot be purchased or accelerated by data volume alone. Every update must balance capability with confidence. Pushing too aggressively risks backlash. Pushing too cautiously risks losing perceived leadership. Tesla is forced to negotiate between reality and narrative, between technical improvement and public perception. Data grows endlessly, but social tolerance is finite. This phase is also where legal architecture matters. Liability shifts as machines take over tasks formerly performed by humans. Who is accountable in an autonomous incident? The driver, the company, the software itself. Precedent is slow, but once established, it lasts decades. Tesla's decisions now will shape not only its trajectory, but the regulatory framework for autonomy worldwide. The illusion of control becomes most visible when scale meets uncertainty. More cars, More data, more learning, but also more potential for systemic failure. Tesla is not losing the AI race. It is confronting the hidden cost of leading it. Autonomy is not merely a technical challenge, it is a governance challenge. Speed alone cannot solve it. Only judicious decision-making can manage risk while maintaining leadership. At this stage, success is defined less by pushing boundaries and more by knowing which boundaries to respect. Every decision about deployment, update, or announcement has amplified consequences. Tesla's mastery of scale gives it an edge, but mastery is fragile. One misstep in judgment could undo years of advantage. Leading the future requires controlling not only technology, but the perception of control itself. Control is rarely absolute. It erodes slowly, through compromise, negotiation, and the passage of time. Tesla has reached a point where its future is shaped less by ambition and more by who is permitted to decide how that future unfolds. Autonomy, artificial intelligence, manufacturing scale, and market valuation are no longer independent variables. They are tightly interlinked. A delay in one reverberates through all the others, compressing strategic freedom and exposing vulnerabilities. Tesla once dictated the pace of the industry. Now pace is contested. Regulators impose new frameworks, public tolerance tightens, competitors exploit caution and replicate progress incrementally. Leadership now requires coordination more than acceleration. Vision alone is insufficient. Execution under scrutiny is what separates success from failure. Control migrates outward, and Tesla must learn to operate within systems it cannot fully own. Elon Musk's role evolves in this phase. Vision remains essential, but operational authority is distributed. The company must align internal teams, investors, regulators, and public perception simultaneously. Charisma and narrative cannot substitute for alignment and governance. Every decision carries amplified consequences. Push too aggressively, and resistance strengthens. Move too cautiously, and momentum fades. Timing becomes more critical than speed. Markets recognize this transformation. Valuation no longer reflects a singular promise. It is conditional, dependent on regulatory acceptance, public trust, and consistent execution. Future autonomy is no longer assumed. It must be negotiated. Tesla retains leverage through infrastructure, data, brand influence, and media attention. These assets allow negotiation rather than submission. Control is not lost, it is redistributed. The stakes extend beyond AI or vehicles. Governance, supply chains, energy policy, international trade, and legal frameworks influence every outcome. Control is not confined to code or algorithms. It becomes institutional, political, and social. Success requires managing these layers without compromising innovation. Tesla must project mastery while acknowledging uncertainty, a delicate balance at massive scale. The narrative shifts from proving capability to proving governability. Autonomy is no longer about demonstrating what is possible. It is about demonstrating what is acceptable. One misstep undermines credibility more than years of progress can rebuild it. Tesla's challenge is to lead without overstepping, to advance without exposing fragility. Power and responsibility are inseparable at the edge. At this scale, decision-making determines perception. Every regulatory engagement, every public communication, every software update is scrutinized. Control becomes a function of restraint, timing, and transparency. The company must anticipate reactions while maintaining momentum. The edge is not about technology alone, it is about social acceptance of that technology. Without it, innovation loses legitimacy. Tesla's story is now defined by the tension between ambition and accountability. The company may shape the future of transportation and AI, but it will not do so in isolation. Society, regulators, markets, and competitors all have stakes in the outcome. The decisions Tesla makes in the next phase will determine whether shared control becomes constraint or stability. Standing at the edge, Tesla demonstrates a new form of leadership, one where influence is measured not just by what is built, but by how responsibly it is introduced into the world. Mastery now requires foresight, adaptation, and the humility to navigate limits. At the edge, control is no longer singular, it is shared, negotiated, and earned. Tesla's future depends not only on innovation, but on its capacity to manage the complex web of forces that define the modern frontier.